To Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Bashim Chakodash, double honors to the apostles, elders, great millstone, room and teach well. Peace of salutation to the elect 144 first fruit. Alright, so here we are. I know if you on my page, I've done plethora of lessons on this U.S. Venezuela conflict and shown escalations, and now we're here. We're finally here, where America actually invaded on the inland. As you see, if you look through the progression of this whole thing, they were attacking small boats, then they were attacking oil rigs off the coast of Venezuela, and then they eventually, they are attacking oil rigs off the coast, and then they're redeeming Maduro as a T word in his army as a T word, and then they ultimately today went in and attacked Venezuela, and President Trump of the United States of America has just recently made a statement saying that they will control Venezuela until further notice, which means indefinitely. All right, because if they set somebody up there, it's going to be a puppet who's going to do exactly what America wants them to do. Now, here's the next thing. I'm about to play this little clip right here because China and Venezuela have heavy ties with one another. I'm surprised Venezuela is not in the BRICS nation at this moment. Now, you got to understand something else. Geographically, Venezuela touches Brazil, and Brazil is part of the original BRICS nations, okay? So let's just continue to watch that as well. All right, so let me play this clip.
Senior Venezuelan officials, including Vice President Delcy Rodriguez and Foreign Minister Yvonne Gil. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro has met China's Special Envoy Chiu Xiaoqi at the Miraflores Palace, underlining close ties between Caracas and Beijing. The meeting was attended by senior Venezuelan officials, including Vice President Delcy Rodriguez and Foreign Minister Yvonne Gil, alongside a Chinese technical and diplomatic delegation. State media says talks are expected to review more than 600 bilateral agreements, covering areas from energy to infrastructure. The visit comes as pressure on Maduro increases from the United States. President Donald Trump has stepped up sanctions, expanded the U.S. military presence in the region, and authorized seizures of vessels linked to alleged trafficking. In late December, China criticized the U.S. interception of a China-bound oil tanker off Venezuela's coast, calling it a violation of international law and opposing what it described as unilateral sanctions. China remains Venezuela's largest buyer of crude oil, accounting for around 4% of its total oil imports.
All right, so that's just a quick synopsis of the alliance between Venezuela and China. Now, I might do another lesson between the alliance between Russia and China. I did a lesson about 2 weeks ago, and I named it this U.S. conflict with Venezuela is not an oil grab, but it's more so a power grab. This is all about positioning. Russia and China have positioned themselves in South America already. South American countries do not like the United States. It's going all the way back to the Panama invasion back in 1989, also to the Cuban missile crisis, okay, which was a kind of another Russian thing that happened. Russia got that close. I may do a lesson on that another time, get Russia's alliance with Venezuela and mention that. But for here now, China has, in a sense, infiltrated Venezuela, and they've had billions in trade with one another, which we're going to read right here in this paragraph right here. All right, it says China-Venezuela relations are the international relations between People's Republic of China, which people just simply call it China, but it's really called the PRC. It says in the Bolivarian, if I'm saying that right, Republic of Venezuela, formal diplomatic relations between both countries are established in August 1944. So this goes deep. It says in switch recognition to the PRC in 1974. Before 1999, only one sitting president, Louis Campins, Louis Herrera Campins, had visited China. Corporation began growing significantly during the presidency of Hugo Chavez and the tenure of uh, Jean Jiang Zemin, if I'm saying that right. It says in 2016, China-Venezuelan trade amounted to $7.42 billion, with $4.9 billion coming from Venezuela exports and $2.5 billion coming from Chinese exports. So they were making money, all of this. And then on top of that, they have relations with a country that is so close to the mainland of the United States. It's all about positioning. It's not about oil. It's not about this. It's about positioning. How can they position themselves? America, this whole Venezuela American thing seems very abrupt and random, because it is, even though it was a buildup. And I mentioned this in my other lessons with this whole immigrant thing that's going on in the United States. It really started with a lot of these Venezuelans getting called out. Oh, they're killing our dogs and eating them, and they're taking over apartment complexes in Colorado. We got to get these people out of here. Blah 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 blah. And they just made a story out of it. Now you get, because I did I keep doing. I'm gonna keep mentioning it because I did another lesson on the U.S. Venezuelan conflict, and there's a whole bunch of articles out there that state the United States have not been clear and have not been transparent on their reasonings to be in Venezuela. Okay, so with that being said, Venezuela is one of a partner of China. I'm surprised it's not in the BRICS nations yet, but what China and Russia is probably doing is probably trying to build up the economy and things of that nature, because China and Russia are heavily focused on the economic side of things. Because if you fuck with the money, you can fuck with a country. China and Russia are big on deleting the petrodollar, which would heavily impact the United States. But that's a process of time. In the BRICS nation, they have like 5 of the top 10 richest countries in the world in alliance. That's on purpose, because they need the money. Once you have the money, you can do shit. All right. So with that being said, America technically attacking one of China and Russia's allies, I can see China and the Taiwanese conflict, going crazy. So here's a China and Taiwan update as of January 2nd, which is yesterday. So top lines, it says, and I'm gonna jump to like the key takeaways. I love this website. It's understandingwar.org. It breaks it down. I use this website on a recent lesson I did titled Key Takeaways for the Russian and Ukrainian War, if y'all want to go and watch that. But this is a great website, and it breaks down to you what the fuck is going on. You see what I'm saying? All right. So top lines, it says the People's Republic of China, PRC, conducted large-scale military exercises that simulated a blockade of Taiwan from December 29 to 30. Now, pretty much all that was a show of force and an intimidation and try to a psychological factor, because you have to play psychological games when it comes to war or any type of conflict or fighting. It's just like a build up to a boxing match. All these press conferences, shit talking, this, that. Oh, I'll release the sparring footage and blah 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? But it's all a tactic. All right. So let me jump down to some key takeaways, and there's one takeaway that I want to get when you scroll down further than this. So it says key takeaways. And the reason I'm bringing about China and Taiwan is because Taiwan is a big time ally with the United States. So China is going to look at it like, okay, well, you do that to Venezuela, watch what we do to Taiwan. I'm not going to say this attack is going to happen tomorrow, but the buildup is there, and we're watching it. Now it's a buildup that you should keep a closer eye on now, because these countries are going to have to retaliate. The Bible says so. Matter of fact, let me read something. And I always bring this out when I talk war, all right, because it's always relevant, all right. Matthew 24:4. Let's get the red lettering going. It says, and Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. Right. That no man deceive you. Verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for these things, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Let's keep reading. Verse 7 says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there should be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. Now you understand that there's a colon right there. I've done a lesson where it's speaking about punctuation. That means an explanation to what is just said is about to come. Through these kingdoms, fighting against kingdoms, it's going to create famines. It's going to create pestilences. It's going to create earthquakes via missiles and things of that nature. It's going to create, it's going to create these things. Earthquakes in diverse places doesn't mean a physical earthquake every single time. Yes, tectonic plates shift and have earth, but missiles, destruction, that creates earthquakes. And it says in diverse places, places are going to get bombed where they're not known for having earthquakes ever. What's going to cause that earthquake in diverse places? Why would he say a nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and then say earthquakes? Because they're going to be bombing one another. It's going to shake the earth. Okay? All these are the beginning of sorrows. All right? All those are the beginning of sorrows. So let's go back to some key takeaways here. The PLA exercise. It says the PRC, China, conducted large-scale military exercises that simulated the blockade of Taiwan. Salaki. The exercise rehearsed elements of a campaign to isolate Taiwan and was separately meant to intimidate and impose psychological pressure. So they're trying to crack Taiwan. They're trying to crack Taiwan before, the physical war starts. Give me a moment here, because there's something else in here that's speaking about AI. Matter of fact, hold on. I think I can find it. All right. Okay, hold on. Right here. Hold on. Let me do this. Yeah, there we go. All right. Japanese media outlet. This guy reported on December 27th on leaked documents indicating that the public, or whatever, Republic of China is using AI to influence foreign elections, including Hong Kong and Taiwan. So the PRC could use these technologies to influence Taiwan's 2026 and 2028 elections to elect candidates favorable to the PRC's policy positions. So China's not stupid, because if they touch Taiwan, they're touching America. Therefore, they have, started war with America. You really don't want those problems with America when it goes to one-on-one fights. When it comes to war, you really don't want them problems. All right, so they're trying to infiltrate it in a different manner, kind of like the same shit that people were mad about with the elections here in America. How it was rigged, and they did this, did that, the whole Trump and Biden shit. It's the same thing, but they're using AI, artificial intelligence, to get that done. Man, AI is going to be big time coming to this, in prophecy and end of days. You see? They're trying to manipulate governments and systems using artificial intelligence. You know, all right. So let me go to this real quick, and I'm gonna end it here. It says Second Ezra is 15-46. It says, "And thou, Asia, that art partaker of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of her person. Woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her." China trying to be just like America, bro. It says, and I'm just because Asia is a geographical area. You got something called Eurasia here. European nations mixed with Asia. Here's Asia. All right, that's Asia, and most of it is comprised of Russia anyway. All right, and China is just right there. All right, and then you got India, you got Saudi Arabia, all that bullshit, and you got, but this is Europe, and then all of that is Russia. All of that is Russia. All right, you connect all of these, you make Eurasia. So really, man, this is speaking of all that Eurasian population. Okay, the Russians, the Indians, them Saudis, UAB, you know, or UEA, whatever, you know, Russia, all of that. That's speaking about them too. But for this lesson's sake, we're speaking about China. This is because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom. Right, because all of them have been influenced by America. It says that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee. You see? You see? So, even with this Maduro, this United States versus, Venezuela thing popping off, every one of these countries gonna get it. All right? Every one of these countries gonna get it. But the point at the hand is China did have strong relationships with Venezuela. And we're going to see how they're going to react to this. We're going to see how they're going to react to it, which me personally, they can't really do too much when it comes to war. That's why no one has stepped in through the whole buildup of the U.S. Venezuelan conflict. No one has really stepped in. No one. Because they don't want to fucking fight the United States. Everybody has to gang up on the United States to beat United States. And that will happen, but just not right now. Wars and rumors of wars. All right? So, Lord willing, this was edifying. Give all glory, honor, praises to Yahweh, Bashim, Yahweh Shai, Bashim, Kakodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, great millstone, and ruling. Teach well. Peace, love, salutation to the elect 144 first fruit. Till the next time, we'll say shalom, and like always, repent for Yahweh Shai is coming back sooner than what me and you believe. All right, shalom.